Hello and welcome back, any wayward wanderers who have found this stream of ours. We are returning to Throne, the world of Kill 6 Billion Demons. And we've just come from a session with an awful lot of violence. So let's have a little recap of things from somebody who was there last week. Daniel or Matthew or Michael, do you have anyone want to volunteer for this task?
Yeah. So we were at the Leaky Foot, contemplating what to do with this messenger or assassin when he went full battle aspect, and we were in a fight for our lives versus a large golden infant shaped battle aspect, um, and the whole place came down just before traffic started up on the King's Highway, and we kind of got pulled away from that situation. Um, but we've learned something about the target of the message, and we sort of prepped. We sort of started making preparations for, the conflict to come.
Have we lost my slave?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's probably dead.
That's
I
even
mean,
worse.
he was buried, and then the rubble compacted down, as presumably because he lost his battle aspect.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
wasn't looking good.
sort of the Shredder situation. He might be back in episode 2, but probably not.
That sounds about right. Matthew or Michael, is there anything you'd want to add to that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that was roughly where we were. And because of the timing, there's still plenty of time for you to escape down the King's Road while it has traffic. So you can still get to where you need to get, or where you think you need to get, which is the other side of the city. It's a place, a neighborhood called the City of Night. But we'll get to that in just a sec. In our last session, we had a end of session move that generated a whole bunch of little story, kind of like little story starter bits of info. And the results of that were as follows: enemies gain time. So the demons that happened to hear what was going on and escape with knowledge that a declaration of war was coming to someone, they're all dead. They were intercepted by some thorn knights on the road, and the thorn knights, being able to sort of see through demons' duplicitousness and sneakiness, figured out what they knew and dispatched them. Because it's apparently one of the old laws that you're not supposed to spread rumors of war. You're supposed to just let the message go to its destination, and that sets everything off. So now there are some Thorn Knights that know that war is coming instead of some demons. Varric gains an opportunity for power or influence. Okay, so someone in this Dolomir family is being set up for marriage. Maybe it's your sibling or your cousin, someone fairly close to you that you have a good relationship with. And they are going to marry a distant heir to one of the demiurges. So these are kings and queens, these 7 tyrants, these 7 demiurges. So they don't step down very often, but just being one of their descendants kind of thing is pretty important. You gain a lot of power through that. So Varric has the opportunity here to allow this marriage to continue, and once it does, can maybe figure out a way of manipulating that relationship. Well,
just one quick question.
Yep.
What is the role of the person that my family member is being married to?
So it's not an official post exactly. They're just one of the, let's say, grandchildren of one of the demiurges.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not a position per se. But I'll maybe ask you some questions about that after the break to flesh that out a bit more. Zorakir gains knowledge of a secret or has a secret of his own to keep. I think Zorakir gains knowledge of a secret. I think Zorakir knows who sent the message and why that person sent it. So Zorakir knows that Solomon David, one of the demiurges, sent this declaration of war. But he wants to get rid of the recipient, who's called Gog Agog. But they've always been very close. So you can only assume that Solomon David is trying to get rid of Gog Agog, like scare Gog Agog away. Why is kind of my question. Why is Solomon David being so seemingly nice when this is obviously a uneasy truce that they have, and they're typically pretty combative and have big rivalries. So I don't know if we need an answer right now, but that's something for Rich to think a bit about. Cube hears an interesting rumor. One of the demiurges is said to be amassing weapons on one of their worlds outside of Throne, and is basically stacking them up right outside a gate that leads to Throne, which, when it's opened, will allow a flood of soldiers and weapons, and depending on the technology level of that world, tanks and laser weapons and who knows, to flood into Throne. And I want to know who that is. So it's another member of the 7. I'll just drop a link in here for those who are kind of curious about who the demiurges are. But I thought I'd throw that to you, Daniel, because you've got a bit of background, having read the comic before any of us. Yeah, so that's where we stand. A whole bunch of little bits and pieces coming together. But we did learn from epitome. I'm going to mess it up. Michael, can you let me know? Epitome. Okay. From epitome, who the target was, and it was Gog Agog. And that is where you guys were thinking of going. So on the Broken March character sheet, I've added a new tab called Images, just to help myself out mainly. This is Gog Agog. She's one of the demiurges, which makes her a Lord of Infinity. She's the Queen of Worms and a walking tragedy. She is a sentient agglomeration of worms, and is waited on by people who make sure that her mask is looking good and can articulate things. And but yeah, she's got a mask, this kind of keeping up appearances, but essentially she's a big sentient and fully intelligent and cognizant blob of worms. And I will actually just link you guys the really cool bit of the comic that isn't necessarily happening in our world. But if you look at the end of this page and the beginning of the next page, you can see kind of how that would look. Okay. So I think we find our heroes. I use that term very loosely. On the other side of King's Road, making their way into the city of Night. This is not in the very core. It's kind of a little bit off to the side. It's a great long curved street, and it is marked by neon signs and flowers and graffiti, and it's awash with color. And you can find all manner of entertainments in here. Nice tube amplifier, audiophile, record stores that let you listen as long as you like. Like MMA arenas, gambling dens, hookah parlors where you can smell 1,000 scents from 1,000 worlds. Yeah, and like the red light district and all this kind of thing. Yeah, and also classy stuff, dance halls, the opera, theaters,
Noodle shops,
jazz bars. Yeah, so it's kind of a sensory overload sort of a place. And yeah, I think we find our 4 heroes. And yeah, let's just follow them around for a little bit and get reacquainted and start looking for Gog.
Can I ask?
Could we get the briefest? Yeah, go ahead.
On the first thing you mentioned was the Blue Devils being killed by the Thorn Angels, or Thorn Knights. And you mentioned that there was a law about tampering with this sort of message. Do we know if we've broken this law?
Yeah, the thing about Thorn Knights is they can be very literal in their interpretations. It's like, when people say that a judge is sort of overstepping their bounds, they do that constantly. So, this week, maybe yes, they would consider you guys to have interfered. But it's not, they're very capricious. But some days they decide you're the worst, and other days they decide that on some technicality you're actually totally fine. So you'd have to ask one, and you definitely feel like that would be dangerous.
Yeah. I suspect if we're in a location and a bunch of them show up, we're just going to melt into the background or try to play it cool.
Yeah.
Just to recap from last time, towards the end of the session, I believe we sort of decided on heading to the recipient of the message, which we now know is Gog, and sort of getting what benefits we can, maybe their patronage or, I guess just seeing what we can get out of that, right? That was kind of just the consensus?
Yeah, that was the consensus.
Pretty much.
I know some people had some slightly different ideas. Q, but what were you like? What was your main thing?
My main thing was just trying to mitigate the damage.
Right.
If I can't stop it, which would basically just would, like I mentioned in the epilogue, warning people and making sure the small folk were bunkered down.
Right. I've probably filled Zorikir in a little bit about. I mean, I guess this hasn't been a lot of time since he was around before, but probably just what we learned about the recipient, I suppose, and the potential money making opportunities. I'm trying to get him involved there because I feel like that's the inn where we could get all of his goons and his backup and stuff, and that's what he would want from this. And lastly, does Epitome have a new body?
Muted.
Double mute.
I don't hear it, Michael.
When in doubt, unplug it, plug it back in. The Epitome lost his body. I hope he gained a new one back.
Me too.
He's in my backpack.
What do you want to do about that, Slade? Did you have anything in mind?
One thought was a sentient bookshelf, but I feel like that's kind of silly. Maybe I was also kind of picturing like a deer, but with the book for a head. Like a four-legged creature.
That'd be cool and weird.
I don't know if that interferes with your martial arts or it's kind of the image of your character.
How about we meet in the middle with a centaur?
Yes, a centaur, a book-headed centaur. It sounds amazing.
Yes, please.
So maybe we're starting things off like in one of these cool jazz clubs or something. What do you guys think?
Karaoke bar.
We're just getting a drink after being traumatized by a giant golden baby.
Well, I can't believe that was drawn me to this loud and capricious place. I can hardly fit my hindquarters in here in this booth. Whew.
I've certainly seen some folks admiring your now glistening muscles. I mean, hubba, look at you.
Well, when it comes to corpuses, I only choose the best.
The smell is a definite improvement.
So maybe we're this is where we're discussing our motives or something, Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Well, I for one, I'm with Cube. I think that, going for fun and profit is all fine, but I'd rather do what I can to ease any sort of distraction. I'm trying to reach enlightenment here.
You didn't pick the best time for that, pal.
Well, that's what happens when you're born.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't believe our goals are mutually exclusive. I mean, as long as we got a whole team working on two different avenues, our end goal is still things go good for all of us collectively. Right, Zorikir?
As long as we factor in out of the original kitty before we divvy it up that I'm recompensed for my loss of my slave, which you guys foolishly got killed with that giant golden baby and the crashing of the leaky boot. Yeah. So as long as we take care of that, then the scullery and I will see this through.
We can probably offer you double what you paid for him, which was
double what he's worth.
Yeah, you lost nothing in that transaction.
Well, to be fair, I mean, we were competing for a contract, and you basically helped me win that contract, so I should probably throw you part of my cut.
I like this. Devils stick together.
Yeah. Just remember that one, pal.
We can, if Solomon is bent on a conflict, and we can't we may not be able to stand against him, but we can certainly make it as short and unprofitable as possible for him. Both with the services of our mighty colleagues and by giving full warning to Gagagog, but also maybe seeking aid from other powers. Like I've heard that Jagannath is amassing a great force, and if we can somehow involve him against Solomon, that would put him at a real disadvantage, and maybe what is the word? Shortcut this. There's a better word for that. I'm looking at you, Bookman.
I'm not a thesaurus.
Expedite.
Expedite.
Well, I went to assassin. Suppose an assassin would know everything about expediting. Expediting one's life length, perhaps.
I just want to clarify really quick, because I know it did say like Zorakir had gained a secret. So would Zorakir have shared his secret with us about the identity of Solomon, or would we not know that who actually sent the declaration?
Well, now that you've agreed to pay him, he's much more willing to share the secret. So yes, you do know that this declaration of war came from Saul and David.
Very intuitive, Cube. So I like your plan, but I just don't want to get involved with more tyrants than we need to.
Well, you're the subtle one.
So you want me to go knocking on their door and say, "Hey, you want to join a war?"
I think it would be more effective if we can somehow draw them together without our personal involvement or public involvement.
I like that. So which of the tyrants did you say we could get aid from? Joe?
Jagannath or
Jagannath, yeah. Jagannath.
Would Jagannath maybe be the tyrant who my family member is getting wedded to one of their descendants?
That would make sense, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm familiar with some of Jagannath's people. It's going to be family soon, and maybe we could expand this wedding into kind of like a three-way thing. They're all about those arranged marriages, and maybe we could find someone to add into this not partnership, trio. It's the best way to forge an alliance, I think. But money would work just as well.
I hate to hear that all you seem to be wanting to do is further entangle yourself into mortality, but I don't know how much say I have here. Oh, hold on. This is my song.
What is it, though?
Like what's...
Like what is... what is it?
Is it an oldie?
I think it's probably Smash Mouth, It's probably Hey Now.
This one I thought he was classy.
I'm trying to think of book lyrics, but I can't.
Who wrote the Book of Love by it's like Kenny and the Teenagers, or that's a bad song.
That's new to me.
Now it's gonna bug me, so I actually have to do this. Sorry.
So your suggestion is that we get somehow connect Gagagog and Jagannath's family to yours through this arrangement. And
definitely connect them in some way. A budding romance between some young people would be an easy way to kind of bring a celebration into the mix, a lot of positivity, a lot of energy, good vibes kind of thing. And I figure, a wedding's already happening. We could just add one into the mix. But I get it's a little wild. So if anyone's got any better ideas, I'm listening.
Can I ask, does Solomon have like a known, are there like agents of Solomon in Throne that we would know about, like a gang or a group that we could possibly entangle, like get to, maybe even if they know about us, they're coming after us, and get them involved in this wedding as an insult, if they attack us during this wedding, or if we can lead them into Jagannath's territory, sort of thing.
So Jagannath has some like 4-armed ape priest type dudes.
But I'm talking about Solomon.
Or sorry, Solomon David has these 4-armed ape priest dudes with like that always walk around with this kind of characteristic like war shovel kind of a thing. It's kind of their badge of office.
I like the war shovel idea. We should definitely be watching those guys anyway. All right, but if we can get them to mess up in such a way that angers Jagannath, or even get them to attack Jagannath's people, maybe that can lay the groundwork for an alliance, or just to get those two fighting. Okay. I don't think Solomon is going to want to fight Jagannath for very long. Maybe he'll sue for peace.
Okay. So, like, kind of try to set everything off really quickly, really powerfully, and diffuse the overall breakup of the alliance.
Yeah. Make it unattractive.
Okay. I mean, he has these ape priests patrolling pretty much every quarter of the city, and Jagannath has his bands of red demons patrolling through the city. They come into contact every so often. They're usually pretty cordial. I mean, as far as most people know, the peace is still on. So, but yeah, they're around.
So maybe this should happen once we get involved with Gogagog. Or I don't know. I'm coming up with plans here, but I need some input.
Cube seems to be the one who's interested in maintaining some semblance of order here in this city. But I suppose that you have some wisdom here about trying to see a way to enrich our own selves through the process.
I mean, the easiest idea for me is to look and see if Gogagog needs me to put anyone down, because I'm sure he's got someone that if Solomon lost someone important to him, then it wouldn't be as feasible for him to conduct this whole war business. He's probably got some advisors, some warriors, some important people that they kick the bucket, no war.
Like the leader of these 8 guys?
Yeah. That's a thought.
Why don't we see first of all, meet Gogagog or her representatives, and inform them of this plot, and then maybe you can suggest as something they would want is to take out this leadership guy, and we can make that happen, and maybe even do it in such a way that it draws fire on Jagannath or Jagannath's people, and causes even more problems.
I'm on board.
Causing more problems as a way to make sure that we don't see problems in the future. Mm. Loath as I am, as a living book, to work with the Queen of Worms, I suppose, I'll put aside that primordial difference for one quest.
What do you have against worms? Worms are delicious.
Yes, well, worms find books to be delicious, if you didn't know.
Hey,
It's all
Zorak here,
relative.
I wonder if we might have some use of a big group of thugs and maybe causing some problems, maybe like a riot situation, or maybe I'm sure you could throw some suspicion or some shade on Jagannath and his people,
Oh,
or
I'm
on
good at throwing
Solomon and his
shade.
people.
I'm good at throwing shade. When you guys are done with your planning, you let me know what you need me to do. I'm just gonna nap over here.
What
Napping was an option?
I made it an option. It's like a rider on a bill.
I think a couple members of the scullery are now up, and I think they're singing a duet, which we know
It's Islands in the Stream. It's a scullery favorite.
But that it usually devolves into some kind of violence. So it may be, time to move on.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So is it established that you're going to go and chat with Gog first, and then move on?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm sorry, I'll be right back in like a minute. I'll be very quick. You guys can proceed, and I'll just hop in.
The only bug themed music I could think of was the ants go marching in, and that's what Cube was waiting for.
Yeah, I imagine Cube likes marching songs quite a bit. Awesome. Okay, cool. So it's pretty well known that Gog maintains this set of 3 buildings, and there's sort of 2 on the side and 1 in the center, and they're almost like stick-like. They're very thin. They might be arm bones of some of the old Titans hollowed out, but people say they look like incense sticks because kind of the top glows up into the sky, and all the smoke from all the stoves and incense burners, etc. It's all kind of flowing out of there. Gog is in the central one typically, so long as she's not out enjoying all of the entertainment that this district has to offer. Yeah, and at the front door there is a small pack, a small group of lawbringer looking types. Maybe 3 or 4 of them, and they clock you as you're coming up. They are definitely keenly aware that you guys are trying to come up into the building.
What do you mean by lawbringer types? Is this a race or a group?
Some angels, by the look of it. Yeah.
Are these thorn angels or the stone angels?
They're the stony, reasonable types. Their bodies typically have like bits missing where it was just like a kind of glowing gas that kind of holds all their body parts together. And they typically have like very, like stone mask looking type faces. And so they see you arriving. Should we maybe wait for Matthew?
Sure. I had to run to see if see my phone. It could have been an emergency. Where are we exactly?
We're still in the district, but we've gone to where Gog lives. There are 3 vertical towers, and she inhabits the central one of those.
And does she employ these angels?
Hard to know yet. But as far as like, do the demiurges employ angels? Not really. I mean, they don't have a lot of need for their skill set of hunting down naughty folk. So yeah, not typically. The angels tend to do their own thing. Yeah. So if we've got a sec, maybe I can turn it over to Rich. Zorakir knows that Solomon David is trying to scare Gog away. Why is he being so nice?
I think perhaps there is a curse that Gog has placed on Solomon David, that if she were destroyed utterly, he would suffer the same fate. And he's trying to bluff her into thinking that he has found a way around the curse. But I'm rather sure he has not.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone. I am back.
It's all good. So Zorakir has well, I mean, I don't know if maybe Zorakir hasn't told us to everyone, so maybe we'll just hold on to that for a sec.
Oh no, he's bragged about it to all of them.
Okay. All right, yeah.
Of course, I cleverly know that this curse is still in place, and I'm never wrong, except for that one time.
So there's a curse that Solomon David, if he kills Gog, or if Gog dies, then he also dies. But yeah, so we're at the foot of these three tall pillar-like buildings carved out of big, tall, thin bones of. I mean, not that thin. Like it's a massive castle. Carved out of the bones of these titans. And there are three of them. The central one is tallest. That's where Gog is residing typically. And you're at the ground floor there, and there is a small gaggle of angels at the base of the tower, kind of in the way of the front, these large wooden front doors. And they see the four of you walking up.
Given my my interest in architecture, these guys are wear stone armor, probably crafted at the beginning of time or close enough, and they were around at the time of Throne's construction or close enough. I would, but also being kind of a bum. I would approach them, being loudly friendly and intrusive, just to sort of disarm them and get them to not want to converse with me. But I would bow and be like, ancient ones, crafted by the builder gods, you too appreciate the wonders of Throne and its construction. Were you here when these towers were built? And basically, I'm going to try to talk to them about my hobby, and hopefully either well, if they give me good information, that's great. But more than likely, they're just going to want to leave the conversation.
Cool. I think you're definitely tempting danger, disaster, mishap, or misfortune with this. So you're going to need to make an overcome roll to kind of overcome their heavy skepticism that this is anything but a trick.
I do have something. No, where is this? You can pass unnoticed as a local in most situations, even if someone is looking for you. In addition, when you're in trouble, that might be it. I thought I had something about. Oh wait, no. As a servant, I have something about bend wills when I'm trying to enrich myself. But maybe mantra of Padam the Wanderer. Just, I guess this doesn't actually give me a move unless I'm calling on aid. So I'll just do the defy danger.
Right, yeah.
Oh.
Overcome. This feels like a heat roll because you're trying to kind of be boisterous and charismatic. Does that sound about right?
Sure. Let me just load up the roller.
You're a verbally notable Labrador.
So that was a 5 plus my heat, which is probably a 1. Hey, it's my first failure.
Okay.
I'm hanging back with Zorik here, looking at these cops suspiciously. Like, ooh.
And we do not gain experience for failure, so I don't. Right?
We didn't find any of that. No, we gain experience. I mean, at the end of the session roll, there's kind of like, did you move the story forward? Did you suffer some setbacks? Like, there's a bit of that, but not in the moment. No. Okay. All right. I think. Yeah. So yeah, they turn to you, and you very quickly notice that they've kind of surrounded you, and the central one, kind of one directly in front of your face, is just hearing you out. What note do you kind of end on?
So yeah, that's probably unexpected if they just let me talk. So basically, bow graciously and ask them for their wisdom of the ancient builders.
The central one just leans in a little bit and says, "It can be a very serious crime to waste the time of the bringers of law."
Thousands and thousands of apologies. I did not know you were on mission. Please allow me to remove myself. And I moving on, moving past them.
Okay, there are 4 of them, and they're physically blocking you. Do you bump through them?
Yes, as quickly as possible, but yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they draw stone swords, and
break a run for it.
Okay. Yeah, they're chasing after you through the crowded market.
Should we follow him or accept this as a moment of opportunity?
This wasn't part of the plan. I didn't take notes.
It was not part of the plan.
Should have known better than to deal with the law, I say. Nothing will tangle you into mortality more than a jail sentence.
Mission-wise, out of character, I guess. I think it's most advantaged if you take advantage of this. Meta-wise, I'm hoping at least someone comes to back me up.
Well, perhaps this is the perfect opportunity for me to extricate myself from this meeting with that dreadful queen. I'll go check on our good friend if you all want to go and make jolly good with Gog. What do you say?
Well, I don't know which one of us is going to be doing the talking without book brain, but
just because I hold a vast wealth of knowledge within this tome does not mean that I'm good at negotiation.
Well, then get out of here.
Slap my hindquarters as
I imagine Varric, has to negotiate for contracts, and probably Zorakir, is a wheeler and dealer. So you guys would naturally be able to parlay.
And sorry, what exactly did you end it on? Like what offended them?
I think, well, I was just wasting their time, and I think they picked up on that. And then I tried to shove past them, and when they tried to stop me, I broke into a run. So I'm just refusing to what is the term? Refusing to comply. I'm a crazy bum.
Yeah, they're after you for impeding their investigation or some such silliness.
I'm probably carrying illegal bug juice.
Very likely. Cool. So yeah, we'll split the party for just a little bit here. Yeah, the door is now free to be operated.
I'll open it.
Yeah, it shudders a little bit, and just a moment later, a little sliding door kind of opens up halfway up the door, and you just see like a little mouth, little pointed teeth mouth, and it says, "Yeah, what?"
Password's Garfleas.
No, don't try any of that with me. I tell you what. Tell me 2 things about you. One of them's true, one of them's not, and I'll let you in. If I can't guess it, I'll let you in.
Didn't know there would be a test.
I thought the password sounded pretty good.
Yeah, I've been. That's a good one. Yeah, can I reach in, grab him, and pull him out?
Oh, sure.
Okay, I'll do that.
So this is one of like a little servant race. It's basically a worm with like human looking but pointier teeth, and just like ears all over the head. Like it's just a mouth and a bunch of ears. And yeah, you pull it out and it's like 4 foot long and like but like.
Can you hear me now? Will you please open the door?
Ow! I can't open it from out here.
Mm-hmm. And if I let you go, Forks, go in. No, not Kukiri, go in with him. It's a goblin. It can fit.
Yeah. So Kukiri is able to squeeze in through the door. Yeah. All right. Fine. And then yeah, the main bar is slid away, and the door opens up.
Should work on growing a pair of eyes, pal, so you know who you're fucking with.
Just
Ooh,
like
I like
turns
that.
Vaguely towards you.
I pairing. Write that down.
Thanks.
It's good. The lie truth thing. What would you have gone with there, Varric? You seem to be good at these things. Just for future reference.
Well, I think the key is to think of the most outlandish bullshit thing that's ever happened to you. And around here, I think most stories that you come up with could easily be true or easily not be true. So it's kind of like 50-50 chance when it comes down to it. I might have told him about how we just fought a giant golden baby, and got our asses whooped. But he wouldn't have guessed that one.
True. Good one. You're the best Blue Devil I've ever known.
Well, okay.
Puts his arm around you. We're friends now. Calling it up.
You're kind of weirding me out a little bit, but I kind of like it too. I guess Cube is where's he at?
He's not getting his share. That's where he's at.
All right.
Nice. So you're met by a giant spiral staircase that runs around the outside of this building. But there's also a kind of core of stuff. So like as you go up and around, there are doorways into the center, and then like you can keep going up, and presumably Gog is at the top. Yeah, if you had to guess from looking outside, it's like 30 floors. Which makes it a perfect time to cut to, we are in an alleyway behind the guided meditation bar, and Cube is cornered by one of these angels with sword out, kind of slowly stalking towards you. And Epitome is right behind you, right behind him, the angel. So you now have the strength of numbers. The other angels are somewhere else looking for you.
Oh. In that case, I guess I've pulled out one of my mini shovels, and I'm facing down this guy. I definitely don't want him to be aware of Epitome. So I'll turn to. No, I'm got my back to the wall. Turn to face him and say, what brings you to Gagagog's lair? What business have you here?
Enough of that. I now have you on resisting justice, and just starts swinging and running at you full force.
All right. Can I try to use? Can I try to use Sparrow Mock's dog?
Maybe.
When you attempt to humiliate someone in combat or otherwise, roll plus heat, which was what I did so well on before. But I see this as basically just avoiding his attacks in a comedic way. Yeah. I don't much care for the chances of my shovel versus his angel weapon.
Cool. Sure. Yeah. Give that a roll.
Oh, I hit it twice. But that looks like a 5 total.
Oh, dearie me. I think that just means that you take his 4 damage.
Ouch.
I think so. Let's see. Threat level 2, brutal. Okay, yeah. So he's coming up with this fancy sword technique, swinging the sword around, flips it underhand, and like.
Is it too late to aid and try to defend and take some damage?
Actually, can I ask? Because I'm not certain how armor works in this. I think when someone else gave up an armor point, they got like -3 damage on it. Is that how it works?
Yeah, the little tokens that reduce damage by 3.
So if I have the move ladder fight while using massive improvised weapons large enough to defend your whole body. So I said shovel, so I guess I'm not really using it. I do have that wheelbarrow, but if I do sacrifice my wheelbarrow or some massive implement, I could get -3 damage to that.
Yeah, it would reduce the damage by 3.
All right.
And actually, I've looked it up, and it's 4 damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he is doing me 4 damage right now?
Yes, unless Michael is intervening.
All right.
Did you want to do a cool thing with your wheelbarrow and defend yourself? Or
I don't think I set that up, but I will next time.
Okay.
He took out all my stamina, but I still have 3 wounds.
So when I roll to aid, one of the things I can do is reduce damage if I spend a hold. So can I roll for that real quick? Or cool.
Yeah, let's roll for that.
Okay. Let's do yellow.
Yellow? Oh, the dice.
Yes. Ooh, that's a 10. I get to hold 3. How do you feel about me spending more than one hold at one time? So I'll spend 3 hold to reduce that incoming damage by 3. I'm imagining like kind of like clomping in, like a centaur, and just maybe knocking the angel out of the way at the very last moment, and maybe just nicking Cube with the sword or something like that.
Sounds good. Yeah. So this angel gets bumped and isn't as effective. Just kind of spins the sword around and then like looks to face both of you, instead of just one. Do you want to try to overcome a bunch of melee attacks, or do you want to try to reach heaven through violence and
I think
guy out, or
I think I'm going to literally try to slam the wheelbarrow over his head.
cool. Reach heaven through violence.
Let's see. Try this one more time. So 5 plus 2 is 7.
Okay. And are we trading harm kind of thing?
Is there an option other than that?
Just look at this here. Yeah. Big important move. Yep, you exchange blows, deal damage, but also take damage as established, and you may suffer additional harm or disaster. I don't think you suffer additional harm or disaster. I think you're taking 4 damage.
Right. And I can definitely sacrifice the wheelbarrow, like literally over his head, to take out 3 of that.
Okay, so you're only taking the 1.
Yeah.
And he is taking how much?
What was it just says 2 damage.
Okay, so he's taking 2. Cool. Well, he's going to use his armor and just knock that aside. He's made of stone, so you've weakened him, but he's still going. Let's see. What is Epitome up to? This guy is also swinging at you with a sword.
Yeah, I think we need to end this quickly before we gather too many more admirers. I think before I get too fancy with any magic, I'm just gonna pull out my curved sword and sort of exchange blows with this guy, like the kind of flurry of blades, and it just looks like on TV, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think big magic might be the way to go here.
Well, we'll see. I learned this technique from a monk on the side of a mountain. It was 400 pages of martial arts manual, while listing off the accolades of this textbook, like the ISBN or whatever. Should I try to reach heaven through violence, or?
It feels like that, if that's kind of how you're going into it, yeah.
That is 8. 8, and that's plus body, right? So a 7 total.
7. Okay. So you're going to exchange damage. This guy's armor is now gone, so he takes the full damage from you, which is 2. Okay, so he takes 2. He's seems to be pretty damaged by this, but you also take 4.
Ooh, that was supposed to be an impenetrable sword technique. Ugh.
He's stabbing away at your hindquarters and forequarters, and
would it be? I guess I don't know if we can just like alternate defense and attack, or would that be the right thing to do here?
You mean like trading attack and defense, so then you roll aid and I roll attack, and
yeah. Well, like out of character. I mean, it seems a little bit cheap to me to just try to game that. So I would generally say no, but I just wanted to see if. I mean, I didn't want you to think that jerk not defending me, sort of thing.
No, I'll take some damage for sure. Make it complicated. I think that takes out my stamina,
Okay.
so I'm at 0. What happens then? Do I pass out?
No, you're still good because you've still got 3 wounds.
Okay.
So as long as you succeed on the next 2 rolls, you're totally fine.
All right. Yes. In that case, I'm trying to think of something to pull out here. But yeah, just maybe there is a small statuette in this aisle, and I'm just going to pick it up off of its plinth, and do a staff twirl with it, and try to hit his legs out from under it.
Okay. Is that a special move that you've got, or is this just a furthering?
It's just furthering the improvised weapons. I assume this is another great weapon.
Yeah.
And also, it's probably big enough that I might be able to use it as armor.
For your follow-up of maybe you destroy it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, give us another roll.
Well, it's going to be a 9. Almost there.
Okay. So you're gonna trade harm, but you're gonna destroy it to not take as much damage. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you only take the 1 damage, and you deal. Is it 2?
It damages based on the weapon or based on me.
Based
on my
you.
character sheet, it says 2.
Yeah,
but for these weapons, I'm calling them great weapons. They're messy.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that also like impedes him, or like a blinding powder of stone dust or rubble at his feet, might help me out in the situation.
It absolutely does. Yeah, you smash his legs to pieces, and he's like just on like knees trying to scramble in the dust, and just falls over and is out
Quickly.
and just cracking, and like you can see gas escaping, like hot gas escaping from some of the stones, and like this guy's toast.
Yeah.
You must drag him here into this hookah bar before he must hide the evidence before the cavalry arrives.
Yeah, quickly scoop him up and drag him out of the aisle.
We'll make some deal with the owner of this bar. Maybe who knows?
Builders forgive me.
Yeah, he's essentially like a pile of dust and rubble, so you can come and just sweep him away.
Honestly, I'm probably also like, I didn't actually think about it when I did it, but like destroying that statue is probably not a nice thing for me.
Some bad karma there.
Yeah.
Well, let's worry about that later. Get the broom.
He is resigned to the dustpan, and yeah, you've got no trouble making your way back to the incense castle.
All right. Is the door still open?
No, it's closed, and there's like a little mouth at the edge, and it says, "Hey, tell you what. Tell me 2 things about yourself. One of them's true, one of them's not. If I don't guess right, you can come in."
How would you know which one wasn't true about me?
Honor system.
If you guessed right, how would you know if I was telling the truth about it?
Yeah, I mean, you're just gonna tell. You don't have to be a jerk about it. Just tell the truth.
Oh, yes, you would never lie, would you, Cube? You are full of correct angles, right? Yes.
I am the 38th son of 372 sons.
It's very hard to tell when Epitome is winking or blinking because he just has the one eye. He's doing his best to sort of nudge you into just saying anything and then covering your bases.
My father was the 78th son of 400 sons.
So I'm picking between those two.
Yes.
Yeah, the second one, that is true.
No.
All right, well, come on in.
Oh, that was easy, and I start to kind of stride in behind him.
Oh, wow.
I'm with you.
Are you employed here? Is this your job?
But I don't know what you mean.
Doesn't seem like a great service. You know what?
Well,
good job.
I
I tip him a small coin, a hunger note, and move on.
Well, that sounds like some hunger notes.
Cube, I would advise you against leaving bad Yelp reviews. It's not done me well in the past. I'm kind of like eyeing this gigantic worm creature now that I've seen it, like, its full body. I'm just kind of icked out.
It's foul. It's the worst. It just folds the hunger note into one of its flaps and tucks it in.
Oh.
So Zorik here and Varric, you can hear the trotting of hooves and insectoid legs approaching.
Are we being escorted up by somebody, or is it just us and the gang and the scullery walking up?
Yeah, it seems like it's not that busy here. It's just you and the gang and the scullery.
Well, I guess Q managed to find his way in. Seems to have found Horsey.
Back to the shares equal after the portion for me. Great.
So yeah, we just stand there on the stairwell while you guys walk up to us.
An extra share.
Are you covered in...
An extra share for our ally Cube, who did an excellent job of diverting the attention of our angels. What do you all say?
Is it coming out of yours?
It's got my vote.
Well, he forfeited his share by leaving, so we can get it back.
Yeah.
Oh. You are the voice of reason, Zorkir.
Yep, you're like an open book, Epitome.
Interesting architecture in here, don't you think, Cube?
Yes, it's a pity they did not include an elevator.
What exactly does it look like in the interior? I'm curious.
It kind of looks like volcanic stone because this is kind of the marrow, the fossilized marrow of this titanic creature. And then the outer walls have kind of vertical sort of stripes, like striations. And then on the inside wall, similar kind of like an arrow bar snapped open, a kind of bubbly texture. But also stone. And then every so often there's a door that goes further in.
Well, I just hope that this volcano isn't active, if you know what I mean.
I just hope those other three angels aren't waiting for us at the bottom.
Yes, and I hope that these holes in the wall don't house tiny worms.
They probably do.
Oh,
Somewhere.
before we head in, I think we should just clear up like what's stopping Gog from just tossing us off the wall as soon as we give her the information. I mean, what's our angle here? What are we playing?
Well, obviously, the service you're proposing to her, she's not going to get it if she kills us.
Well, she's gonna get it if she kills the three of you.
Um,
I'm sure you all have ways of being useful, but I think you should think about it, and maybe we should be prepared to barter a little bit for this whole deal, to ingratiate ourselves to her worminess.
I think that like Epitome is sort of considering this and like reaches into his pack to like get an apple to ponder with and sort of like scraping around in an empty bag like yes, there was apples in here earlier. Anyway, I think you have a good point there, Varric. We all know what you bring to the table, a very desirable skill in throne. I suppose I do have vast knowledge I could offer, but the tyrants they enjoy entanglement. They enjoy sticking their tentacles into every root of the city and holding on to it like a sickness. I prefer studying avoiding that. So unless she's getting ready to uproot herself from this place, then I suppose I don't know what I have to offer.
Well, if our goal is to somehow either disable Solomon's forces or disgrace him somehow, we need to, I suppose we could talk this over with the queen, but it'd be useful to have some sort of method of casting blame and of causing problems for Solomon. And I'm sure you're all very capable at doing those kind of things. We just need to make it clear that you are invaluable, just as I know you all are.
It's a good point, and I hadn't honestly considered it.
Your confidence is reassuring. But do you have any suggestions?
Well, I mean, I still like the group wedding idea. I know my cousin Braxos would be on board, with another person in the mix. If we wanted to get Gog an alliance here, a little more of a position of strength, so she can't just be run out of town. We're talking about curses too. Zorik here, I don't know if you have any more thoughts about that. Bookman, I don't know if you know anything about curses, but maybe this curse needs to be broken somehow, because otherwise there's going to be conflict no matter what.
Oh, yes, curses. I do know a thing or two about curse.
If you think about it, the curse is actually preventing this from becoming a reality. If we remove the curse from Solomon David, then he could kill Gog with impunity, which would lead to the war. Perhaps we just need to convince Gog that it's all a bunch of horse apples, as it were.
It was my impression that they were close, though. That the declaration of war was to run Gog out of town for her own safety. I don't know all these politics business. Slade, is that the impression that we're getting?
I think
it's not totally clear now. So it initially seemed that way, but then it seemed like the defense was to prevent this kind of reciprocal damage.
Yeah, I think he was worried about her safety because of the curse. Yeah, but like, I don't know how to. He wants to win the fight without her fighting.
Yeah, that's a good summary here for analysis. But yeah,
but his
out of the way.
we could assume that his goal is that he doesn't want her to die because he dies, and that's his primary motivation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So beyond just our services and our knowledge, and I guess the helping you out. Yeah.
I mean, if we could find a way to break this curse, then he's got no more motivation. No war needs to happen. No nothing. They can just go on being the dickheads that they usually are.
I think he's attacking her in spite of the curse. I mean, this maybe we need to figure out why he is so dedicated to attacking her, even despite this curse, which would seem to make it a really bad idea.
Well,
it's a little late for that. Here we are.
We're at the door.
She might know.
Are we cool to take like 5-minute bio break and then we'll launch into the craziness?
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's take 5 and then
Collect our thoughts.
Sounds good.
Hey, Rich. Michael referenced some sort of pun you made earlier. What was that?
I said you're an open book to epitome.
Oh.
It wasn't that clever, but he was being nice.
I think he might have misunderstood your comment about horse apples. Or I'm not certain he was looking for apples later.
Well, horses do like apples, so maybe it's it's a whole lot of apples, different kinds of apples.
So it looks like a lot of these tags have a lot more mechanical definition than they do in Dungeon World. Messy says deals incredible bodily harm or violence, has about a 50% chance to deal increased damage or incidental damage to and around its intended target, comma, +1 damage, or parentheses +1 damage.
Mm-hmm.
The GM can decide whether this happens or make a roll for it.
Yeah.
So all my improvised weapons are messy.
So we should be doing that.
Yeah. How I'm wondering how are the angels dealing 4 damage? Is it just they're that strong, or do the weapons have like brutal tag or something?
Yeah, they're just that strong. They've just got like 4 for damage.
It's that's pretty messy.
Yeah, and I mean they're a higher threat level than other things, and
Yeah.
And I mean, you faced 1. There might have been 2 or 3. So it's yeah, they come with the kind of like threat level things to kind of balance it because it is so like numerically complex. Okay. So yeah, you're at the door of the palace of Gog. What do you do?
Knock?
Cool. Yeah, it's a big, heavy wooden and iron door going into the center. And the stairs kind of go a little bit farther up, but then it's pretty clear that like the top is sheared off. So you're just standing in the wind at that point. But yeah, yeah, from inside you can hear kind of a weak voice say, "Yes, come in."
Well, here we go.
No riddle. This is bonus. I go open the door. I go in. So easy.
Inside there is
Candy from a golden baby, I tell them all.
Oddly, that was the password.
So the inside is the bottom floor is tiled. Along all the walls are big tapestry kind of dealies, and there are a few pillars in the room just to kind of keep the roof from caving in. Yeah, and a good 30 yards in, you can see an old kind of decrepit throne, and there's someone sitting on it in a kind of a teal robes. I actually quite like the image in on the images tab there for Gog. You can definitely see her key, which manifests itself as kind of like a candle above her head, kind of a glowing candle looking thing, and as if it's dripping wax, but actually what it's dripping is some kind of fluid that the worms that make up her body can kind of move through. She is wearing her mask, so she does look human on the face, and she's got some gloves on, but every so often you'll see little bumps and like things are moving underneath the surface.
Most unpleasant.
My lady, we come with dire news of war and betrayal from your compatriot Solomon.
She stands up and she's not really human looking as she stands. She's kind of rolling her shoulders in a weird way. Those aren't the words of the message. This isn't official. That doesn't count.
No, but those words we heard the official message from I forget the guy's name. A messenger of Solomon.
That's Sulabin?
Suleiman?
Sulabin?
Sulabin.
Yeah.
All right.
This is more just a message of ill intent.
We thought
you've come here to threaten me?
No, of course not. We come here to warn and offer assistance.
Why?
Money, wealth.
She has a little grin on her false face. Wealth. Well, what did you have in mind?
Oh, just so we're clear, you would give us some wealth.
Well, what kind of aid are you offering?
Truth.
Well, my lady, Queen of Worms, Lord of Infinity, your beauty is intoxicating, so forgive me if I trip over my tongue. But
pardon me.
I just give you death there. Solomon, obviously, questionable kind of dude. You know, I know you're familiar with him. You guys have some kind of rapport. All you tyrants have some stuff going on. I get. Excuse me. Slip of the tongue. Demiurge is the term I meant to use. But this is a situation that is currently under control. Okay. However, we are aware that he has some intent to do harm to your people, your reputation, to muscle in on your territory. And what we could do is we are very capable people with a wide, diverse array of skills, including murder, book learning, building stuff, and ordering around goons. We got a whole lot of goons.
Cube is flexing right now.
Oh, that's amazing.
And first of all, I'm the one who kills dudes. So if you have any ideas, I'd be willing to negotiate a contract. But we're all, like I said, a very capable task force that is willing, for the right price, to operate in silence. Because, as we all know, if this word got out, bad news could happen. And it's not a threat. It's just a statement of the facts.
So, you're here to help me, and you want the wealth of my worlds.
Some of them, at least.
You, and she points to Epitome. Do you really think that war is coming?
Well, I've studied the Declaration and its place in history, and when it has been sounded in the past, war has always come. I feel as if it's only inevitable. Your Majesty.
I see. Well, if war is coming, then it's time to move out of the way, then, isn't it?
That's what I've always thought. But perhaps your understanding is deeper than my own. You demiurges operate at a level unknown to us in the throne.
Yes,
What would you do with our services were you to afford them?
If war really is going to arrive, I would use your services to escape from this place. I would have you me out of throne to one of my worlds to wait out the inevitable bloody mess that would follow.
I've come to understand that you have a curse that holds power over Solomon David. Is that true?
Solomon David is a fool. He, against my suggestion, consumed one small part of my being. That small part is sitting in his gut like a sliver. If I were to die, that part might burst and kill him.
So I think at this point, Epitome has sort of like walked away a little bit and is like vomiting pages and ink kind of just onto the ground. Like, ooh, on hearing this description.
Why would you flee from him if you hold this sort of power over him?
Killing him won't solve very much. It will, if it's ever traced back to me, open warfare will break out just as easily.
I could make sure that it wasn't traced back to you.
And how would you do that?
Well, I'm very capable at getting into places undetected, at putting pointy things into places undetected. I know that it's quite preposterous to suggest the assassination of a tyrant, but I come from a line of very capable people.
I see. Well, from here, I could let you know his location. I mean, I am aware of where this little iota of my own personality is at all times.
Maybe we should ask. What you want out of this is to flee. And then you're expecting a bloody exchange to happen in your absence. Is that in your own interest? Do you want to encourage that bloodshed?
No, of course not. If we could forestall or fully prevent this from happening, I think that would be the best course of action for all involved.
I think the best way to forestall this is not to flee, but to stand. Show him that he will have to endanger himself by attacking you directly. Show him that you have strong and capable allies, and I wave at us. Maybe even call upon others of your class.
Well,
also, Solomon has a lot of power on his side, and by eliminating some of his assets and diversifying some of his resources, we could make it so that he's not in a place to fight or to claim any sort of ownership over anybody.
Just don't understand. Who is he? If I'm not the real target of his anger, who is?
Has he acted strangely in your like? Have you seen him recently, perhaps acting strangely towards one of the other kings or queens?
He does have a kind of rivalry with Jagannath.
And Jagannath is preparing for war. I've heard tell of great engines of destruction being amassed on one of his planets, one of his worlds.
Well, if that's what he's trying to do, why don't I simply follow his suggestion? Leave. Let him send a declaration of war to Jagannath, and this can be resolved, no
But
matter how ugly.
But the declaration of war was to you.
Yes, he has a dramatic way of letting me know what needs to be done.
So you would consider yourself an ally of Solomon, Sulabin.
No, not an ally, but we may have similar interests in this. I don't wish to see it happen, and he doesn't wish for me to be around when it does, on the chance that I am drawn into conflict and killed.
So now that I've recovered myself a bit, I ask, are you sure that you want to follow the course that's been set before you exactly? Are you not concerned that the machinations of your fellow demiurges, if followed through exactly, will not lead to your demise? Is that not how you powerful folk work, with half-truths and riddles and plots and ploys?
Typically, yes, but something about war has a way of simplifying everything.
Indeed.
Well, let me take an inventory of what I have on my worlds, and we'll see if we can make an arrangement.
Yes. War is coming, is it not?
Yeah, so she sends off some little. I don't think she has demons. I think she has some kind of servant race. Go and do this, collecting up what she has and different resources on different worlds. Is Zorakir interested in like raw materials or control over worlds or bodies or?
He's good on bodies. Raw material means you have to work it. So probably like wealth or some kind of immediate pleasurable thing. Back rubs, scented oils, money.
Sure. Okay.
It spends.
Okay. Well, let's see. So this area has all that good stuff, entertainment wise, and yeah. Okay. So yeah, in that case, I mean, she's got a whole bunch of wealth from various worlds that she can offer to you.
But what she wants from us specifically is just to escort her to safety.
Yeah, she wants you to escort her to safety. Well, she wants you to escort her to a gate, which is going to take her to a world that she's going to try to wait out the storm on.
Seems a lot less direct or out of character, you know. I mean, I guess adventure can happen here, though. I don't know why Sulabin would attack us, escorting her to safety. I'm trying to see where the conflict is, or what we can do here, adventurous.
I really like the idea of like like I don't know if Q would challenge her on this or whatever, but if we are all interested in preventing the war entirely, I'd like the idea of knocking Solomon down a few pegs, like striking at his resources or killing off his important people, or just doing things to make it so that he can't wage war on another tyrant because he's caught up in dealing with us, messing with him, or something like that. I feel like there's adventure there, but
Honestly, it doesn't really fit my character, but I'm thinking about the two birds with one stone situation here. Though I mean, I nearly got beaten up by a single angel. You know, um, you know, she doesn't seem interested in helping us or helping us prevent the fight. Um, I don't think Cube would just say murder her though.
right. And I'm sure this escort won't go as smoothly as we're planning it to, right? Like if someone has aims on another person, although if Solomon is okay with her leaving and then he's just going to declare war somewhere else, he's just throwing his weight around, then it's going to happen, right? But I could see money in it. That's one side.
Cool. Okay.
I don't really know what to add.
Yeah. There are no good options. But yeah, she's interested in hiring you. Just
Can I try to persuade her to stand up for the people underneath her? I don't know. This is probably bad. This is probably a bad idea, but I'm gonna try. You know what? Can I put a power dice towards it?
Yeah, you sure can. There's some bend will kind of a roll. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
My lady, there are vast numbers of your faithful servants on throne who will be caught in the midst of this conflict, it irks me to see your beauty pushed around and threatened by this ruffian, trying to lay on the charm and also get her to think of what she's throwing away here.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna roll 3 dice. What do I add?
Heat.
So that's gonna be a 9 then.
Okay. Okay, so they need some concrete assurance or proof of your leverage before they will do anything. So so your kind of leverage was your people are gonna die and you're gonna get entangled.
Yeah. I guess the leverage is that we're offering her the services of an assassin and all of our other things to try to get the first blow in. Yeah.
Cool. He wants
maybe
to see Varric kill someone right now.
Sorry?
He wants to see Varric kill someone right now.
Okay, yeah, and maybe it's even silent or not communicated or something, but I just have the inkling. I'm sure tyrants can say things with their minds too. Oh boy.
Shadow arts.
Yeah, I mean, Zurich, you're not too attached to everyone in the scullery, right? I'm sure there's some goon who's just dead weight.
Ooh.
That's when the door goblin comes up the stairs.
Well, Santuko did score he brought down the bell curve, to be honest. His performance review was not very good.
And even if this would be a little bit of a problem, I think it's totally fine. but I think that like I'm gonna make it really flashy. Like it's kind of like I'd maybe like just like I think I'd push him and like just like go to like start a fight in the throne room or something. Like just start talking shit and like start pushing him and like messing with him. And then if he like gets riled up at me, I want to just like basically just like jump up to like something on the ceiling, like grab on and just do this like anime like darting around the room kind of thing, and then just like ending up behind him and then just put a knife in his back. So I imagine I have to roll something, but I'm kind of combining like moth school and spider school stuff here that I'm kind of like flitting around and also climbing on walls and things like that. Just trying to make a show of this ridiculousness.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if this would be like agility or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like how agility breaks it out into a separate thing.
Right.
Yeah, let's do agility, and you can spend a hold to kill the guy, because
Okay.
yeah. So you need at least one hold.
All right. Well, let's hope that I earn that. I'm gonna. What's my reflex here? It is 2. Okay, so that's a 12.
Okay. With a flourish, you end him in the way thus described. However, I want to turn to Zorak here. What is the reaction of the gang to a supposed ally assassinating one of your men without cause?
Yeah, it's not good. I think they're going to be pretty upset that there's going to be clamoring for some kind of recompense, like a payback. Probably make some insults along the lines of Blue Devils, can't trust them. Forks is going to throw some of the turds that he picked up, that she picked up earlier at or towards Varric. Not the best aim. And Zork is probably going to have to say something about it.
I think I might even like after that happens, I'm kind of like standing in the middle of the gang and they're all like standing around me, doing what you just said. And I might spend one of the agility hold to just like jump up to the ceiling basically and be like dangling from a chandelier. And, just like, sorry, everyone, just wanted to give a little demonstration. I thought she needed a little push, a little nudge in the right direction. How'd you like that one, Queenie?
Well, the true test is for Zorak here.
Yes.
I just obviously Varric wanted to try out for the gang. He went for a low-hanging fruit, but I don't know. I think I'm suitably impressed, and then I'll throw a couple of insults to the other. Do you remember that time that you accidentally chopped off Hooker's pinky finger? We let that slide. I'll try to use Boss to talk them down.
Nice.
This is the level of our determination.
Indeed. How does that boss move go? Is that dirty work, kind of?
Out of character.
Or just the boss? Yeah.
Maybe it's the boss.
Out of character, I'm wondering if I should have tried to like produce one of those parts of an angel, and maybe they were working against her. Or, I don't know.
I don't really understand this whole power die thing.
Yeah,
It's
think
kind of
this-
confusing.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to use it, you get advantage on the roll, and you kind of narrate your extra awesomeness.
Hmm.
And if you do,
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just trying to kowtow my guys and be like, hey, kind of sucks, especially for Sentoku, but hey, now we have a new gang member who's obviously much better than Sentoku because Sentoku just got pantsed.
right. Okay, I think then it's a case of dirty work. So roll plus boss when you give your gang a difficult, demeaning, or humiliating task. I think
Oh,
this
nice.
is a humiliating task of like just suck it up because we need to do this. So yeah, 2d6 plus boss.
And I mean, it starts at 1. I don't know. Like, I don't really understand how boss works. It starts at 0. When I make a move, I can declare I'm making an example in my gang with your actions, which I think Sentoku counts. Sentoku counts. If he rolls a 7 plus, then I can raise my boss. Okay, so I just roll flat. Okay, sorry, it just took me a bit.
I think you actually had +1 from last session though.
I want to say I do, but I didn't write it down, so I didn't want to take the advantage. But if you're good with that,
let's
I
do
need
that.
to put that somewhere. Put it now.
Yeah, I remember you berating your gang.
Indeed. Here we go. I have rolled an 8 plus 1, a 9, and because it's a 7 plus, my boss goes up by 1.
Yep. Nice. So now you're +2 for the next.
Sweet.
Okay. They perform their task, but they complain like hell and do a half-assed job or screw it up in some minor way, though they do
Awesome.
not fail.
Love it.
So there's much clamoring and gnashing of teeth.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a massive payday coming, so not as huge of a deal. Hopefully.
Yay.
All right. So she's looking over all of you and just kind of undulating with trepidation, excitement, who knows. But she stands up and starts walking towards you. I am able to use my key, but I need to get to the gate. Take me to the gate, and I will make the transfer. I will provide you with what you seek.
Very well. I imagine like she's got like a servant or a palanquin.
Yeah, she's got quite a big one. It's on one of the. It's it's in the door at the base of the tower.
So yeah, we would escort her out of the tower and towards the gate. Are we going towards Solomon's gate? Sullivan's gate?
What was Daniel's bend wheel roll for? Daniel's bend wheel roll for was trying to seduce her with the sexiness of your gang. Basically, like these are the people that are gonna see me to safety, and then the concrete evidence needed was the assassination, and then the counter of everyone being calm. Yeah. Okay. So, yep, she slides her way down the steps in a very foul manner. And who's closest to her?
I would be fairly close.
I'm keeping my distance.
Okay.
I have no problems being near Wormy Lady.
Cool. I think she's interested in both of you. I think she turns to Zarek here and says, "That was very impressive what you did back there."
A firm grip on this gang. A great leader.
Yes, but leadership is difficult. The mantle is heavy.
It is, but I wear it well.
She kind of grins. She's got a little shine. She's taking a shine to you.
Nice.
You're cocky, but you can back it up.
So far.
So far. And yeah, she's turned to Cube and she says, "You're awfully. I don't know how to put this in a way that won't offend you. You're how
Ruggedly handsome.
how can you work with people like this?"
These are, my people, and despite their flaws, we have to stick together.
Yes, well, sticking together, that is the difficult part. Well, I wish you well in the troubling times ahead. Cool. Yeah, she's kind of sticking away from Epitome and Barrick. Yeah, she walks down to the base level. There's a great platform held aloft by various servant types. She enters and closes the drapes, like the curtains around, and just leads. I guess these guys kind of know what she's thinking, and they're taking her out towards a gate. And let's see. Okay, so she lets you know that there's going to be some distance. This is, a full evening worth of travel. And yeah, so you're making your way about an hour later when the group, or I don't know if you call it a palanquin or a
Parade.
Her little retinue traveling makes a sharp right turn, and you hear her lean back and say, "There's something up ahead there that we would like to avoid. Do you have your weapons ready?"
Assuredly. And I've picked up a street sign.
Nice. Okay.
What are our surroundings?
It's this same kind of district, so it's like pleasure houses of 1,000 types: karaoke bars, jazz clubs, opera,
Cool.
theater. Yeah. So you notice in the distance bit behind you a figure in the crowd that looks like it's looking towards you pretty consistently. But of course, it has no eyes because it looks like one of these. I'll fire this into the chat. It is a Thorn Knight. So a member of the group of angels, but kind of a offshoot that's gone rogue. Covered in thorns, no eyes to be seen, just looks like a suit of armor, all thorny. And it's making a bit of speed through the crowd and chasing you.
So there's this kind of cool move called Acuity, which is when you attempt to use your mental quickness and prowess to overcome your enemies in combat. So I think this is like, this is Epitome going into like battle mind mode, where he's perceiving things around him in the sort of combative martial sense. So instead of perceiving the world as like, in terms of physics and math and geometry and things like that, it's purely with a mind for combat. So when I see this this knight and I know what their motives are, I think I might enter into this battle mind state to try to figure out the best way to deal with this.
Okay, yeah, give it a roll.
Cool.
And then you hold to ask questions. Is that how it works?
I think you can spend your hold to reduce damage. Increase damage.
Add tag to your friend's attacks against the target.
Yeah.
And boost our damage as well.
So it's kind of like aid, but more offensive than defensive.
Cool.
Ooh, and that's a 12.
Fantastic. We're gonna hold 3. Okay, and then you'll get all those things to spend. So yeah, so you're scanning the whole scene, which is useful, but it's a little bit tricky because there are now two Thorn Knights, one in front and one coming up from the rear, and they are running towards both of you, or all of you, and swinging swords into the crowded throng, basically. I mean, at people who are holding up the platform, at members of Zorakir's gang, and just a massive melee is breaking out.
Mind that those are Thorn Knights that care not for collateral damage.
They do not.
We must end this quickly.
Wish I hadn't used my power die. Yeah, so you were going after the Thorn Knight in the back? Epitome was...
I'm just gaining a perspective on the battlefield, so I'm prepared to assist anyone else who wants to jump in and do something cool.
Yeah, I will try to bat the front Thorn Knight away from the bearers and the servants, and try to get him away, and maybe even down a alleyway. Yeah, by swinging this sign.
Okay, that feels like an acrobatic feat of a sort. Does that make sense?
Okay. What? So reflex?
You're trying to change the range that he's at with you or others, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be a plus reflex roll.
Okay.
Because it's possible that he can kind of jump to the side or jump over you, or
yeah. Total 6.
Oh no. Okay.
Is there any way I could help push him over?
Not in the standard dungeon world sense. It's
Okay.
It's a little more atomized. It's a little more compartmentalized. Okay. I think if you're just trying to push him out of the way, he's just gonna bounce off a wall and jump over you and continue to hew through. So half of the people on the one entire side that's holding up this platform just run through, and this thing tips, and Gog comes rolling out into the crowd and is now brandishing 2 small knives, and is kind of face to face with this Thorn Knight. Okay, so let's throw it to Varric. You're kind of heading up the back a little bit, and a Thorn Knight is running towards you, swinging a big gnarly sword.
Yeah, so I think I'd like to sort of I want to use my moth school training here, or at least attempt to. I want to use agility to sort of I want to at first get in front of this Thorn Knight so that they see me, and then I want to use agility to sort of like dart through the crowd, even like stepping on top of shoulders and heads and stuff like that, and just dart past them in order to be like a threat behind them, basically, that they're going to have to deal with. And also, if I manage to roll a 10, if this is agility, then I can give them the reeling tag. And that's kind of my goal here, is by passing through them, I'm kind of disorienting them.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great. That sounds exactly like an agility.
Cool. Do I want to empower this? No, I think I'll just roll. That's a 9. So I don't trigger Moth School, but I get 1 hold. And I guess what I would like to do is move over and pass through enemies and hazards unhindered, just to sort of, be a threat they have to deal with.
Okay, sounds great. Zorak here, what is your gang up to? What are you and your gang up to? This new threat.
So I'm clear. Gog has 2 knives out, and she's trying to slip away. I think I'll order my gang to cover her retreat. That's her job, so that's where the money is.
All right, that feels like this same kind of role of dirty work. Let's roll 2d6.
And I now have a boss of 2.
Yeah, boss of 2.
Which is great because I just rolled a 5, so I squeak by.
So you squeak by. They're not perfect at it, but they do it. Yeah. So a few are stricken, struck down.
Oh yeah, that reads. That totally makes sense to me.
Maybe not killed, but like quite badly wounded. And
cheers.
But yeah, Gog gets enough cover from that, and this Thorn Knight is like turning around looking for Gog and like trying to hack their way through. Epitome, what say you?
I want to try to corral these 2 Thorn Knights together so that I can hit them with 1 attack. So I think here, I've kind of got this battle mind going, right? And so I want to kind of be like running around, almost like a person would be on horseback, right? Swinging my sword and just trying to like corral them together into one space, because then I want to like blow them up with a fireball is kind of like my idea.
Okay.
So what would that look like, do you think?
Is it might? It's not really might. Maybe it's might. You're pushing, you're trying to push or halt your target, kind of a thing.
Sure.
So the outcomes of that are your target stops moving and cannot escape your grasp. The target takes 1 damage, the target takes reeling, or the target takes the crippled tag.
So would reeling tag suggest that they're kind of like glommed together?
Like knocked back in a... It's not an amazing fit for any of these, but let's do it as a...
Would it maybe just be like overcome or whatever, but with might?
Yeah, it could be an overcome.
Okay. Well, I'll roll with might either way, and we'll see if I just fail, and then you don't have to worry about what happens.
Yeah, plus body.
But I did get a 10, so now we got to figure that out.
You are
roll plus horse body.
Roll plus horse body. You get +1 forward if you're a horse to this roll. So you're successful and you come away unscathed. So they are now close to each other.
All right. Someone hold them still, and I will incinerate them with a ball of magical flame.
That's when I turn the palanquin over, on top of them.
Just trying to entangle them with whatever's in there. Okay.
It's
Sure.
probably filled with pillows and
Excellent
and
flammable
wine
silk.
stuff.
Yeah, and that's. Do you have like a class move for that, or is it more of an overcome situation?
Uh,
Because they're still swinging swords, and if they see you trying to throw this on them, they're going to try to get you.
I have might, or just overcome with body. I'm just physically picking up a large thing and hitting them with it.
Okay.
So it could just be see Kevin through violence.
Because you're trying to. Are you trying to mainly have them be the reeling tag, or are you trying to do the damage?
I guess reeling tag.
Okay. In that case, let's do a might roll. You're trying to physically subdue them with your strength.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2d6 plus body.
Ooh. That's an 11
Oh,
for success.
Okay. So they are now reeling. They are momentarily disoriented by pain, shock, or otherwise. They can't deal damage and do any other actions. And they. And actions they take are far less effective. They'll lose this tag after a move or two.
For the might thing, it says on a 10 plus, you successfully wrestle, throw, push, grab, or halt your targets. Choose any or all options below.
Oh, wow.
That might be a typo, but it sounds like I could pick all that. Well, suddenly all that apply. So yeah, like stop moving and cannot move until they escape the palanquin.
Okay.
1 AP damage, and the reeling of maybe even crippled tags. Maybe it doesn't cripple them, but it's certainly captured them and maybe dealt a little bit of damage.
Okay. Yeah. So they'll each take 1 AP damage, in addition to being reeling. Okay. Cool. Well, that would give some opportunities. Maybe Varric might see something, or Epitome.
I mean, Epitome just called out for that move, so I think you should follow up if you got. Let's see that big ball of fire.
My eye begins to glow and my pages start to riffle, and I say some unpronounceable magical word that means primordial fire, and a big burst of fireball flies out from my eye at this nice pile of kindling.
Are you channeling the flame in addition to doing that? Are you spending your power?
I absolutely will. To use my dread sorcery, and I also get to kind of do a little risk here because of one of my basic abilities. I can roll an extra d6 to see if I get to keep that die as a new power die. But if not, you get to use it to do a bad thing.
Okay.
All right, so I'm rolling 3 d6 because I've empowered the roll, right?
Yeah, 3 and pick the 2 best.
And then I'm also going to roll an extra d6 with pips to see if I get to keep it or if a bad thing happens. You get the bad thing, but I got a 12.
So I get a bad thing die? Or...
Yes, you have a break die, which basically you can spend to give me disadvantage. Or maybe anybody.
I think it's anybody. I think it's just a pool.
Well, sorry, I made things worse for everyone, but I got a 12.
Okay, so what does that look like?
That looks like 3 area damage from the fireball.
Okay.
Also, I'm guessing that they're on fire. If that matters to a stone angel thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get to give a single source of damage. I can spend one of my acuity hold to maybe add like some nasty tag, maybe like either destructive or AP against them, whatever you think would be more fitting for inflagration.
Um, yeah, let's give it. Let's have it knock out one of their armor points each.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. Cool. So yeah, they're just the palanquin thing is just all ablaze now. They're inside, just like swinging around, confused as to where they are, basically. I'm gonna throw it to Zorik here. Your crew have allowed an escape, and yeah, what do you see them on fire? What do you do?
Any of my compatriots look like they're in a rough shape right now.
Yeah, there are two of them that got kind of like a slash across the front with the thorny sword.
Yeah, I'll. Sorry, I think I was unclear. Are there any PCs that are in deep trouble? I'm less worried about the gang.
I haven't taken any wounds, but I'm nearly out of stamina.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Probably just means I'm huffing and puffing, and maybe there's some cracks in my carapace.
What are you facing?
Right now, I'm facing two burning thorn knights.
Oh yeah, that seems difficult. I'll send half of my guys to continue their dirty work, and then we'll move over and try to help out Bug Boy here.
Do they have some healing abilities, or?
No, I've got a 357 Magnum though.
So when you say helping him out, do you mean like kind of like taking the pressure off by attacking?
Yeah,
Thorn
yeah,
Knights, or-
exactly.
okay.
Like jumping onto a Thorn Knight, trying to ride it, getting a saddle out, mashing some horse poops into our horse poop on him.
Sure. Okay.
And I'll shoot him. That could just be color. I mean, unless whichever of those moves you would rather me.
Let's do a reach heaven through violence. I think you're trying to transcend the mortal world. Well, you're trying to make that guy transcend the mortal world.
Right. What's the stat on that one?
It'll be 2d6 plus your reflex for a ranged attack.
Okay. Cool. I have a 1 in reflex. Here we go. I have rolled an 8.
Okay. You exchange blows with your enemy, which doesn't really make sense if they're using melee attacks and you're not.
Well, he could do a blow of damage to my gang since they're closing.
That's true.
Or they could, do more damage to Cube because that doesn't bother me.
No.
It was a joke. That totally hurt my gang. It's cool.
Okay. So how much damage does Zarkir deal?
His damage is 1, I think. Yes.
Okay, so you've knocked some armor off of one of these Thorn Knights.
If you attack with your gang, it's +1 damage. I think that's why only the boss has 1 and everybody else has 2. It's because assume you're always fighting with your gang.
Using your gang.
If you have the group or huge tag, it's like +1 unless you're facing a group or a huge guy.
Okay, but they take out enough of your gang that they're not having to deal with them at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're losing folks left and right. Of course, you can rebuild, but you are down to very few at the moment. Let's see. I kind of want to throw it to Varric, but Matt is not here at the moment.
He disappeared into the shadows.
He's off somewhere doing something cool. Maybe to Cube in that case. What is Cube doing now that it looks like these knights have knocked away all other resistance?
I think Are they still on fire?
They are still on fire, but it doesn't seem to be hurting them particularly. They're making no efforts to get rid of it.
Yeah. I've retrieved a manhole cover, and I am going to, slant, just basically Captain America tackle one of them, try to smash him up against a stone wall or something.
Cool. That feels like reach heaven through violence. Let's have a roll plus body.
That's going to be a 10.
Hot diggity. Okay. How much damage are you dealing?
If it counts as messy, then that'd be 3.
Okay. I think it does count as messy, and actually, you take this guy down. Yeah. What does his destruction look like?
I think like his joints sort of separate. It's kind of like he exploded. His parts disassembled as the flame leaves his body, and he just crumples into a bunch of spiky tubes. I'm very quickly going to grab up one of his longer leg bones or arm bones to use as a weapon. It's not really a bone, I guess, but tube.
Right.
It's a pipe, a spiky pipe.
Nice. Okay, let's throw it to Varric. One of these Thorn Knights has just been dispatched.
How did the fireball go?
It went well. Yeah, it exploded and dealt a bunch of damage, and pretty much everyone's been rolling amazingly well. So
is the other Thorn Knight out from underneath the Pelican on fire? What's the situation?
Yeah, so he's still where the palanquin was, and there are like fiery bits of wood kind of stuck to him. But the fire doesn't seem to phase him at all, and he's now swinging his sword downwards at you, like he's trying to cut you in half, left and right.
Well, all right. I think I've got to mix it up now. There's no time for subtlety. So I think I'd like to dodge out of the way of that blow, at the same time like unwrap my chain from around my chest, and basically like it spins around as it like pulls off of me, and then I'd like in the same motion I'd like to I think like wrap it around like his neck or wrap it around their neck or upper torso and just like yank them to the ground kind of.
Okay. Does that feel like a might? Yeah, that feels like a might.
Feels like a might to me, yeah. Okay. Body is 1. So let's go ahead and reroll these. That's an 8. So I will choose 2 of the options. I think I'd like to go for the crippled tag here, in that maybe maybe I sort of get like my bladed chain whip thing around in the right area. So the Thorn Knights are they all they're basically mostly metallic, right? Yeah, I see the picture here.
Yeah.
Maybe then I get it in a way that I wrap it sort of around its arm and like shoulder or something, and then just like yank it, and it just pulls the arm off and wrenches the thing to the ground, sort of. And probably just do 1 AP damage too. It's okay if it can get up or whatever, but yeah.
Well, unfortunately for them, with 1 AP damage, that's it.
Cool. Then maybe it's not just the arm; it's kind of around the arm and then the head as well. So I kind of just like pull half of its like torso apart, kind of.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Oh, little bits of thorn knights. Okay. Yeah, I mean the commotion slowly settles as you regain normal breathing, and yeah, you've dispatched these two thorn knights. Agog comes back from one of the alleyways and says, "With with all of this excitement, I think I can get there from here." And her key in the center of her head starts to glow really, really brightly. And yeah, she seems all charged up with energy, and there's a bit of a glow around her, and then she's gone.
All right.
I breathe a big sigh of relief.
She leave us a letter of marque or a check or a credit card number with the CVV?
Yeah, she's made arrangements.
Good.
One of-
Good, because I've got to hire a whole lot of scullery.
Yeah, so like in her retinue, there were 2 or 3 money changer types, and you know, now that she's gone, they kind of like clap very slightly, and they've got some paperwork for you to sign and everything. They'll get it all delivered.
This is how these tyrants do things. It can't ever be just, here's a chest of gold. It's got to be, oh, sign this contract. We'll show up at your house in a few months.
So these guys, these angels are dead or gone. You know, I don't know. Maybe Epitome has something. You know, like if this was D&D or Dungeon World, it would be Speak to Dead. But is there any way we can like try to figure out what their agenda here was or why they were attacking?
I can indeed summon a shade to speak to them. Would an angel, could that work?
Yeah, so they're like they've kind of turned into little flames that are just kind of popping out of the smashed up armor that they resided in. And like once all of that's evaporated, they're somewhere in the void, and they can maybe find new armor and be reborn into the world. But you could capture this flame and use that later, perhaps.
I mean, I'm looking at time here, and we're doing pretty good. Got about 20 minutes left, right? This move would just be asking one question. Would that be a good fit for here?
Oh, fire away, yeah. Prize secrets from...
So this is just dread sorcery. This is kind of just my magic power. It's bound to answer one question truthfully, then the connection dissipates if it so wishes. So I will roll that with mine. Do you want to use your break die on me here, or?
Nah.
Okay.
I don't think I ever want to use a break die. Well, maybe. Maybe when you guys are getting like 9s and 10s all night,
It looks like I rolled. Let me try re-rolling because I think I got.
I took a move that lets me wrestle with huge things. Wait for that. You know, I was about to like jump on the back of a thorn knight.
Yeah, that could be dangerous.
I did get a 10.
Okay. Yeah. So fire away.
Why have you? Did you? Why were we? Who was? I guess I'm wondering. Maybe I should pull the table before I ask my one question. We kind of want to know what their motive was, or who sent them. Which one?
Oh, I'm mostly interested in why they attacked Gogagog. Like, why would they favor? Why would? Because they may not be sent by Solomon, but they definitely seem to be working in his favor. Or actually, no, wait. Maybe they're trying to kill him. Because if Gogagog dies, he dies. So I hadn't actually made that connection until just now. So maybe that is their plan. But so maybe who sent them is a better, or what? I don't know. Maybe
We
I've just answered all my questions.
we do we do also know that it was Thorn Knights that captured the three blue demons and executed them and extricated the information. So it could be assumed that these ones were involved with those.
And the knights that were chasing after Cube were not Thorn Knights, right? They were of a different sect. So they're not targeting us. They were definitely targeting.
Sorry
God,
for
God.
chewing with my mic on. I would ask like what their stake in this conflict is.
Yeah, that sounds good. I kind of like that. Yeah, what their pony in this race is for. Yeah, so I think I'll summon up the flame of this angel and almost like have a magical like grip over its throat. I just say, what is your stake in this fiendish lawbringer?
Right. So it kind of comes in weird little sparks and spits, and it's kind of like just staring at a campfire for too long, talking to this thing. But it says, we were informed by one of the seven that a message, that a declaration of war was not received. So we were preventing someone from escaping from that message and thereby avoiding their duty to receive it.
So technically, I don't have power over it anymore to answer any more of my questions, but I might ask,
Sure.
Who commanded you? Who informed you of this misdeed?
The Lord of Rage, the ultimate monstrosity, the God Eater Jagganoth.
It's no use arguing with a Thorn Knight. To try to point out to you how you're only leading to the destruction of throne. It's probably what you want anyway.
We want the law to be held sacred. That is all that we want.
Your dogma disgusts me. I banish thee.
And it just dissipated into the ether.
Well, if the Thorn Knights know that war's coming, then Jagganoth has sent them. He certainly wants this war to happen.
It might be self-preservation too, because if Solomon doesn't get this declaration through, then he might be throwing them around elsewhere, maybe on Jagganoth himself. And I don't think he'd be too pleased with that. Although he is the Lord of Rage, maybe he's on board.
It's fixing for a fight.
Yeah, but maybe this was a roundabout way of killing his enemy by attacking, sicking the knights on Dagagog.
Yeah. I guess I don't maybe Epitome would have noticed this by kind of rolling acuity during that whole battle and being more attentive. Did it look like the knights had mortal intent to actually kill Gog, or were they more like just intervening and interrupting? Like, were they going after her?
Seemed like they were trying to capture her more than fight with her.
Right.
And they were killing anyone who kind of got in the way or like slowed them down. But they were just trying to get to her, basically. Yeah. So it's kind of like a slow petering out, but I think we probably should end there and do the end of session moves. And do like a quick debrief after, if everyone's got a few minutes before we hit 9 o'clock for me, maybe 10 for 10 or 11 for other people.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I feel like we shouldn't start a new crazy phase. Okay, so let's look at the end of session. Here we are. Okay. When we reach the end of the session, all players discard any remaining power dice, and I discard any break dice. Mark 1 XP. Everybody's XP goes up by 1. And then as a group, we answer the following. Did we fail in some regard?
I think we got through okay. I don't know.
Well, I think we definitely failed on sort of like convincing Gog of our initial plan. Yeah, we had these ideas of like how we'd be in service, but we ended up just escorting her away from the conflict. We sort of thought it was between her and Sulabin, and now it seems more like it's between Sulabin and Jagannath.
Solomon David?
Say again?
I think it's Solomon David.
I was saying Solomon. I thought everyone was correcting me to Sulabin.
Sulabin was the slave who was also an assassin, who was the one who turned into the golden baby.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
Sullivan
that's
is the
my
golden
confusion. Every time I said Sulabin, I've been meaning Solomon.
I mean, it is a bit of a. Well, I'll leave it to the table. What do you guys think?
I guess the question there is like, was that a group intent? I guess like I would have liked to get a full contract out of her, and I mean, we still succeeded in that we got paid for what we did, but it was more of the moral victory that you and Epitome didn't get, because that was more of like what you were concerned about. So I don't know if it. What do you guys think?
I would say so. Just from I don't know. I mean, we really didn't have we started off with an idea of what the situation was and how we were going to affect it, and like very quickly we didn't. We kind of got off of that.
And I'll say anything to gain XP, so yes.
XP all around.
Woo woo.
Okay. Did we expose ourselves to danger, cost, or retribution?
No.
What? Thorn Knights.
Constantly, I think, is the correct answer to that.
We went up to a demiurge and talked to her.
Oh yeah.
And she liked you. I mean, that's not easy to pull off. Did we progress the story in a meaningful way?
I think so.
Seeing some nods.
We're discovering more about the machinations that are happening. I feel like it's pushing towards either like war or some more business. I'm interested to see, did he want to capture her as like a bargaining chip against Solomon, or like what is I think since we have a lot of new questions, I think that means we progressed. But
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Gog not being there anymore, like one of the 7 demiurges fleeing throne, is not something that happens very often. So I think that like macro story, that definitely was a big thing.
Cool.
In which case, so you get 3 more XP than you had. So it's a total of 4 this session.
All right.
When do
I haven't got
advances
any.
happen?
Sorry?
When do advances happen?
When you do training, which is another move.
You're shitting me. Okay.
No, I'm not shitting. I wish I were. I wish I were.
And then it's 3 plus your level. You need that much XP to advance, and I assume we'll probably be able to do some downtime next session. So maybe at the beginning we could I guess, yeah, that's up to Michael if he wants to just throw us into some more shit. He could easily do that, but yeah.
I like downtime.
Pacing wise, I was trying to see if I could squeeze it in, but the combats are intense.
Yeah, middle results against angels are pretty brutal.
But yeah, if you can roll some tens, like you guys dispatched this last set of Thorn Knights pretty easily.
Yeah.
Some nice moves in there.
If I was in this universe, I would definitely like invest in armor piercing weapons.
Yeah, AP is amazing. Cool. Well, I'll say thanks very much, and we can cut the feed and have a little debrief.